sore at me because coming up on our Two for Tuesday panel, we booked two folks that he has been wanting to be in between for a long, long time. Brand expert and QVC guest host Erin Sykes and Turning Point USA spokesman Erin Elmore. Now, they're both right of center, but I'm going to see if I can find an issue or two where we can maybe drive a wedge in between them. You're watching Liquid Lunch. I'm Frank Morano, sitting in for John Tobacco. Still to come. Panel, Erin Sykes, retail and sales strategist, consultant, and QVC host, and Erin Elmore, attorney, political analyst, and spokesperson for Turning Point USA. Erin's welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
Double
coming.
dose of Erin's.
Yes. Absolutely. We even have, still to come, some people on the show that aren't named Erin. Erin Elmore, let me begin with you. What is Turning Point USA exactly?
So Turning Point USA is an organization that's a conservative-leaning organization, and they help young people, because as we know, college isn't often down to high schools. There's a lot of media bias and there's a lot of bias against conservatives. So we're helping these young conservatives have their voice, learn a little bit, empower themselves, and, you know, live the American dream.
Now, Erin Sykes, one of the things that I found so attractive about President Trump's candidacy in 2016 and back in 2000 when he was thinking about running is that he didn't subscribe to this Republican orthodoxy that free trade was always good. He ran on a platform largely against where Republicans were on the trade issue the last 20 years. How is it going to work out for him politically and economically this time around?
Well, the thing about Donald Trump is he's that breath of fresh air in a very broken system that is our politics in the United States. And what he wanted to be was different. So he was breaking those molds. He was a disruptor of this system, and he does not abide by these norms. So looking forward to 2020, I think he's just going to continue this unorthodox approach. He's not afraid of Iran. He's not afraid of China. And it's showing our economy is stronger. We've been in these horrible deals with these countries and tariffs forever. And he said enough is enough. And I think that's going to resonate with the American people.
And our patients, and really having high employment and spending our money somewhat wisely.
We know it wasn't Obama. That's all we know.
Well, so
I think we can all agree on that.
Right? So there was a slow recovery under the Obama years. It was the weakest recovery after a recession since World War II. But it was a bit of a recovery. The president comes in, and does the president deserve all the credit for the economic recovery and the rising stock market? Or do you have to begrudgingly, even as a conservative, give a little credit to the prior administration?
Absolutely not. He had 8 years. 8 years. 8 years. And what happened? GDP was not over 4%. Didn't he say you needed a magic wand?
He did.
Well, that didn't happen.
You're pretty liberal with that gavel for a conservative, I'll tell you.
Well, I am a lawyer, so there's something in there.
Exactly.
I've always wanted to gavel it up.
So, Ms. Sykes.
Not the front runner, not the one that's been breaking those glass ceilings, but and not those micro, cryptos.
Ms.
as
Elmore,
well.
does she know what she's talking about?
Absolutely. I'm not a fan of Bitcoin.
You're not?
No.
Oh, so
it's the blockchain technology, which is probably here to stay and has the real momentum, but Bitcoin's a little too trendy for me.
Well, so would you be buying at 11,000 or no?
I'm not messing with it. I'm staying out of that marketplace.
There you have it.
I think it's got a lot of volatility. I mean, I'm sure the technology underlying it is here to stay, but not a Bitcoin fan.
All right. When we does that take away the president's defining rationale for why he should be reelected?
I don't think there's going to be a recession, so I think the point is moot.
Well, but okay, playing the hypothetical game.
All right, devil's advocate for you. I don't think that would certainly be an asset to the president or a great talking point for 2020. But where we are right now with how strong the economy is, where the jobs numbers are, GDP, low interest rates, I don't see a recession.
So, Ms. Sykes, can the president win re-election if there is a recession? Be honest.
No.
He can't.
Although I agree with Ms. Elmore that there's not going to be a recession and that the point is moot.
All right. Well, so when we come back, it is, of course, it would have been George Michael's birthday. George Michael from the Culture Club, one of the great culture warriors.
Culture Club.
Oh, no, that was Boy George.
Oh, my God. He's alive. Don't break fake.
Sorry.
That's fake news. I got to have faith, the faith.
This is a retraction. Boy George is alive. We want a breaking news lower third when we come in.
Beverly Hills house.
I know. That was like,
My goodness. All right.
It was so good.
So if you're just tuning in, this is Liquid Lunch. I'm Frank Morano sitting in for John Tobacco with the two Erins, Erin Elmore and Erin Sykes. Both say Boy George is alive. Both say there won't be a recession. When we come back, On the eve of the first presidential debates of the 2020 election cycle. But John's loss is my gain because I get to be beside the lovely, talented, and intelligent Erins. Erin Sykes and Erin Elmore, and it was decided during a commercial break conference that rather than call them Ms. Sykes and Ms. Elmore, that we're going to say Sykes and Elmore. Now, they signed a consent form to this extent. I'm not being rude. I'm not being disrespectful. That's their preference. Now, a couple of other stories we're watching. Boy George still alive. George Michael dead. But it would have been his birthday today, so happy birthday to all of his fans that are celebrating. Hopefully you're keeping the faith. Now, Elmore,
yes,
you've got to explain to me the situation regarding Project Veritas and the sting that they did of these big tech companies, namely Google.
Yes.
Explain to viewers that aren't familiar with the story what happened.
So Project Veritas...
This is James O'Keefe's group.
Yes, got a hold of someone who works at Google, who went undercover, you know, cloaked the face, and the voice was all electronic. And what they found out is that Google is not our friend, basically. They want to change the results of the 2020 election because they were so unhappy with 2016. They change what you see. If you look for Hillary Clinton's emails, nothing really comes up properly. So they're hiding information, biasing information. They are not a neutral third party. They are a serious political actor on behalf of liberals, period.
Do you buy this, Elmore? Have you seen any of these projects? No,
there's nothing not to buy. I mean, it's fact. They prove
Erin's a lot easier.
This is my shocked face. No, like, obviously.
And that's not just because we have Botox.
It's not just my Botox
Wait,
face.
so you
that's
both
my
have
real
Botox?
I mean, who doesn't?
Aren't you too young to have
New York
Botox?
City.
We're made of Botox.
No, we look young.
Our middle names are both Botox.
These
It's Erin Botox and Erin Botox.
Women are actually in their 60s. So
yes, we are.
That's a ringing endorsement for Botox. But so, Elmore, the thing that is pretty alarming about this is not just that this goes on at Google, but the fact that these videos that Project Veritas did have actually been taken down. Is that right?
Yes, it was taken off of YouTube, which is owned by Google for privacy concerns, which means they just don't want it out there. The woman that they interviewed undercover says she was tricked. She said some really horrible things. You know, they call this our truth. We want to distribute the truth. There's nothing truthful about this. There is nothing honest about this. Everyone stop using Google and use DuckDuckGo. I'm not being paid by them.
DuckDuckGo?
DuckDuckGo is a browser that is unbiased, privacy. You know, they're not sharing all of your data.
Okay.
Stay away from Google.
Sykes, we've seen Facebook problems, we've seen YouTube problems, Twitter problems. My friend Roger Stone still banned from Twitter. Are we at the point where these big tech companies need to be regulated like utilities? The president.
What did he say?
The president seems to have pretty strong feelings.
That's what they want to do.
I mean, you know, it's borderline. I'm not for, you know, breaking up large companies. I think.
First of all, what do you make of the president's explanation that she wasn't my type? Is that really the best defense against a rape accusation?
Let me just say this. She is trying to sell books. You know what his type was in the 90s. He was dating playmates and beautiful models. Does she look like she fits in that category?
Well, look, I mean, there's plenty
That's not his type. If his type is models, she's not a model. That's a factual statement.
There's plenty of non-models that get raped, but it doesn't sound...
No, that's two different things.
Right. But
we're not talking about who gets raped.
But is that a valid, is that a good enough excuse that she's not my type? Was that the best response from the president?
Not the best response.
You believe these sexual misconduct or sexual assault allegations comes down to where you fall politically. Isn't that a problem? We really shouldn't be viewing these accusations politically.
First of all, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. Moreover, the statute of limitations on this has run so far it ran the New York City Marathon by. I mean, this was in the 1990s. She should have said something then.
I think that's a great point. Sykes, I mean, here we have a situation where we don't even have trial by jury. We have trial by media.
I think that's the continuing issue. I think that.
The president issued an executive order on healthcare transparency. Very quickly, this is what the president said.
We will empower patients with the information they need to search for the lowest cost and the highest quality care. In other words, they'll be able to seek out their doctor, seek out the doctor they want, and they'll be given vast amounts of information about those doctors.
You guys get the last word. This should be something that Democrats and Republicans unite on, right?
Absolutely. I think this brings everyone together. Everyone's fair pricing.
Elmore?
Botox. Botox.
Fair pricing for Botox.
All right.
Botox should be covered by insurance.
Erin, I hope we can do this again soon. And hopefully John will be away next time you guys are here as well. This has been a lot of fun. Stay tuned.